You are now listening to Rick Hurts.
He said, what do you mean? You think I hate the NAACP? Listen, well, first what I want to address is we talking about the press conference that I attended with Frederick Douglass Foundation, Kevin Daniels, and some of the leaders in North Carolina, a lot of the ministers, Pastor Fozar, much respect to you guys, and Pastor Hunter, and a couple other pastors out there, and the pastor of the upper room too. And I don't know, I always forget his name, Dr. I can't remember his name right now, but much respect to you guys. But I feel like the situation that we're facing it's nothing but an example of more situations to come. You know what I mean? Like, we're living in a day where the people they're allowing their elected representatives to decide for them what's acceptable and what's not acceptable for their own benefit. Today we gotta be honest today and decide like what's real or what's the real reason we're voting for something that's already law. When you talk about marriages, it's already law. I can't help that the government is already in heterosexual marriage.
Well,
if that were to come up for today, if that was to come up for revision today, or if that was to come up, to be for a vote today, I wouldn't vote for the government to be in heterosexual marriage either. You know what I mean? But now I have time to correct something that I feel like is wrong from the beginning. And that's the government being in a marriage, which is a religious ceremony at the end of the day. And I don't agree with it. I think that people should vote for that. Furthermore, I just don't believe in same-sex marriage. I don't believe in same-sex relationships. I don't believe in sex with the same human being, with the same parts, the same two men or two women. I just don't agree with that. That's because of my religious beliefs, and that's personal to me. I'm free. This is America. I'm free to choose what religion that I deem right for me. And I feel that, being a follower of Jesus Christ or Christ-like religion, I feel like that's for me. You know what I mean? But outside, and that's not debatable, by the way. You know what I mean? When we talk about religion, that's not debatable, by the way. But, I'm done with that. I'm not here to talk about that. Check my YouTube clips, youtube.com/KIRP Radio Show, KIRP Radio Show. I know some people say I say it fast. Yeah. But real quick, though, let me address the NAACP thing, because I got a lot to say about that.
Go ahead.
Where you're saying, you said that I hate the NAACP. No, I don't hate them. Not at all. I think they do a lot of great things. You know what I mean? I think they do a lot of good things around the country. Do I agree with everything that they do? No. You know what I mean? But personally, I think the NAACP should resign. I mean, you can go ahead and write that up, put it on your website, quote me on it. The NAACP should resign. You know what I mean? I don't hate anybody, but I dislike people who claim to represent my or our color people, black people. I dislike anybody who claim to represent our best interests, but they fail time after time again. Purposely sometimes. Purposely they're turning a blind eye to things that happen right in our own communities and allow for political affiliation or their own personal beliefs. When you're supposed to be an institution that represents all people, the voice of the people. Clearly they say that. Clearly they state that's who they are. Think about it. Many times, a lot of times you hear the NAACP. I'll put it to you like this. How many times have you heard the NAACP pushing for social service reform in terms of setting goals via education in the black community?
Never.
You don't hear it. You don't hear it. They don't promote it. They don't go out and talk about it. They don't come in the community and talk about it. They don't take anything to all the political affiliations they have, the political affiliates they have. A lot of NAACP representatives and members are all representatives themselves. You don't hear them talking about reform of social services in terms of goals set for education in the black community or any community. First and foremost, if you ask me, it should be reformed for any community. But they represent the black community, so I'm talking about them right now. You don't hear them talking about reforming social services in terms of goal setting via the black community. Via education in the black community. You don't hear about that. Look, how many times you hear them speaking out on the growth of the foreign-owned stores in the past 20 years in the communities that they say they represent, the NAACP is supposed to represent, that it's up 400% in communities that average less than $25,000. Foreign growth of foreign-owned stores in the past 20 years, up 400% in communities that they represent less than $25,000 in black communities. You hear him talking about that? You don't hear him talking about that. How many times have you heard of NAACP in neighborhoods knocking on doors and asking colored people about, or asking black people about what type of businesses they would like to have 3 doors down from the home that they're buying, or the home that they're renting in, or the home that they always lived in? You know, how many other neighborhoods you go into and there are just as many stores or storefront churches as there are houses on the block? It's unheard of, but only in the black community does it exist. You know what I mean? You got a lot of Arabs, you got a lot of Asians, you got, man, the nail shops, you name it. You know what I mean? Nail shops, many makeshift supermarkets, little bitty bodegas, little corner stores, corner markets. They sell anything from t-shirt, rice, liquor, beer, down to weed for your hair, condoms, and do-rags or baseball caps. Man, you name it, man. How many other neighborhoods have to deal with something like that? They're not even owned by black people, and it's not even quality products. Do you hear anybody talking about that? Do you know how much money these people make from the blacks in those communities? Do you have any idea? How many times have you heard the NAACP talking about that? Going around knocking on doors in neighborhoods, asking people what kind of business would they like to run? You know, or would you like the information on learning how to, or getting the know-how, you know, achieving the know-how, or would you like the know-how to create a small business of your own? Or even asking the people in the neighborhood, would you like these stores on your block? And directing them how to not let those stores, allow those stores to keep setting up shop in the neighborhood. The people aren't even from America in large part. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like they don't have the resources. They got the resources. The question is, do they care? Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's not fair. You know they care, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let me ask you this. How have they shown you that they care? You know what I mean? What pisses me off the most about the NAACP hype is that blacks are now fighting the Mexican population in the United States as the leading minority group in the United States. As an institution that's supposed to be self-proclaimed to represent them. I mean, look at the name, the North American Advancement for Colored People. You know what I mean? I hope I got that right. But you know what I mean? But whatever it is, you know. They're supposed to represent the social need of black people, the legal treatment, the civil interest of black people. But meanwhile, black communities in large parts have been torn with drug infestation, foreign investor manipulation, in large part with the county, the district, and the state government, liquor store infestation, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We ain't even gonna get on violent crime, taxation, and education, or the lack thereof. You know, and et cetera. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. You know, I'm no fool. I know it's not their job. And they don't have any legislative powers. But when you proclaim to represent the people, you are so quiet, and you're so quiet on the issues that are taking place right in those communities that you claim you stand for, or that you claim you represent. I mean, you can hear a rap pee on cotton. You can hear a rap walk on cotton. They're so quiet about these issues. They need to change their name. Matter of fact, I challenge the NAACP, change your name, man. Dismiss yourself. You know what I mean? I doubt we're gonna really miss you. You know, you got people in North Carolina like this William Barber cat. I wouldn't even start on this, man. These people are still, this guy is still, he's the leader of the NAACP in North Carolina, with all due respect to the brother, all due respect to him, because I have no disrespect to him. Right now I'm talking about his actions. You know what I mean? Talking about his actions. Still screaming in town hall meeting. When you still screaming in legislative meetings, getting locked up, going in, busting in doors, and screaming out loud and getting locked up, man. That's the 60s, man. This is 2011. You know what I mean? After the people he was screaming at had already agreed to meet with him. Already agreed to have a public meet with him. This is public information. Look it up for yourself. You know what I mean? This is how people are embarrassing us. And they think the kids are embarrassing us by getting in trouble and the way they wear their clothes and stuff. That's not the embarrassing part. It's when our leaders who have the ability to schedule a meeting with the legislative representatives, the people who can get things done in North Carolina, they have the ability to schedule meetings, but yet they like to bust up another meeting which they're not even invited to, whether it was public or private, come in screaming and yelling and getting locked up like we in 1962 and they yelling, let my people go. You know what I mean? this is the embarrassing thing about the